Where is everyone from that I have in the room right now? Anyone want to say hi and introduce yourself? Maddie's here. I know Maddie's here, so we're gonna talk in a minute, and I'm gonna get everything set up. And it looks like we have a pretty big group tonight. So thank you everyone for coming. I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Julie. I'm the Senior Assistant Director of Admissions here at Niagara, and I went to Niagara as well. And we created this program that we are going to be talking about tonight because last year when COVID hit, there was a lot of ups and downs. You couldn't get in touch with your guidance counselors. So we wanted to do this presentation tonight to let you know that if you're struggling with where you want to go to school and, what might be the right fit for you, we're here to help you with that tonight. We want you to know whether it's not Niagara, whether it is, whether it's small, private, SUNY, a community college. We want to go over all the options with you so that you can get the pros and cons right in your head and maybe make a little bit of a list and narrow it down to make the right decision and have it be the right fit for you. And I graduated from Niagara in 2013, but I went through a lot before. Actually, there's someone else in the waiting room. Let's see. I went through a couple, struggles. I applied to a bunch of different schools. I had a hard time deciding where I wanted to go to school. I picked a school. I went there. I ended up staying. I really liked it, but then I left after a semester and actually started going to a different school. In Niagara. So that's kind of how that happened with me. So it's really important to narrow it down to the right fit for you so that hopefully you don't have to jump around once you do go somewhere. And I also have Maddie on tonight with me. And Maddie is a current student at Niagara. She works with us in our office and she is really, she's a tour guide. She knows a lot of questions about Niagara. So any questions we have later after this, please jump on and chat with Maddie and I at the end. And I'm just going to welcome everyone. We actually have some more people coming in. This is awesome. And I see that we have a couple different areas people are from, which is great. I love it. Upstate New York, Central New York, Illinois, awesome. And while I get the PowerPoint ready to go, I'm going to just ask Maddie to just briefly introduce herself real fast.
Perfect. So my name is Maddie. I'm going to be a junior. My major is sociology, and then I have minors in American Sign Language, Deaf Studies, and psychology. I actually came in undecided, so throughout the college search process, I had no idea what I wanted to do. So about a year in, I declared my major, so I can answer any questions about undecided, trying to figure out a major and things like that.
Thank you. And we're going to talk to Maddie more later about her whole history and why she chose Niagara and why she, all the different areas she went through to make her decision. So I'm actually going to share my screen now, and don't mind. And I'm going to start going through this PowerPoint here so that we can kind of get the ball rolling and then continue on with our chat. And please, while you're here listening, maybe keep some questions in the back of your head, put them in your notes, write them down, because we will have time at the end to go over anything you want, any questions related to Niagara, any questions related to the college search process at all, or questions, SATs, anything you've been thinking about. So this is me, Julie. So our program that I'm going over with you today is the college search process program, basically, but we gave it a name of 12 North. And 12 North is basically you are going into be a senior in high school and you're going on in life. So you're going up and out and you're going to be making all these different decisions. You don't know where you want to go, but you're in 12th grade almost and you're going on. So we want to help you out with this, and we gave it this fun name of 12 North. So this is really what it comes down to. This is a year like no other. So when we were in COVID, you didn't have counselors coming in from schools to visit you. So you didn't know who to engage with when you were at schools. You didn't know who to talk to because you were just, before, people like myself from all different schools would come down to the guidance office and they would sit with you and ask, you could ask them questions about their programs. And last year, you pretty much didn't have any of that unless you did it virtually. There were no in-person college fairs. There was limited counselor interaction. So it was just kind of different because it was all virtual, and you probably couldn't even visit any colleges. In the chat box, if you guys want, you can just kind of write if you actually were able to visit a college up until before a couple months ago. Niagara was doing tours, but a couple other schools, you really couldn't get into them at all, and that's because of COVID. So if you did get into one, congratulations. So we are going to help you fill the void with this and kind of figure out where you belong, what your fit is, and where life will take you in college. So what is 12 North? It focuses on you. It goes right into your strengths and where would you be the best fit? Where maybe wouldn't you be the best fit? You think about yourself and your future. Do you want to be locally? Do you want to stay home so you can help your parents? Do you want to go away so you can spread your wings and get out a little bit? Do you want to go close to home? Like, let's say you live in Sanborn, but you want to go to Niagara and live on campus, you can do that too. And it will feel like you're away. Maddie will kind of touch on that later too, I'm sure. But when you come to Niagara and you come for a tour, these are all things that you can help you dive in to see if you like the school. So we encourage you to go to many different schools to go on tours so that you can find out which schools are the right ones for you. And you really might not know that without visiting. That's why it was so hard during COVID to come up with, where you were going to go to school, because the search process was so crazy at the time because you didn't have access to us at all times. So we're going to help you with the best fit in this process. 12 North is not a summary of the application process. If you need your SATs or ACTs and what score you should get, how to write an essay, how to do the Common App, how to fill out the Niagara application, how to even click and how to do an event or anything like that. While we will talk about it here, we don't want to make that the focus of tonight, because the focus of tonight is to talk about where best school for you would be and how you can narrow down that decision. And then of course, all of these other topics will come into play and we can answer those questions, but you will hear about all of the process for all of those as well when you do meet with colleges and talk about that, because all schools are different. So maybe we don't require SATs, which we don't at Niagara, but maybe at other schools they do. So this will empower families to discover the bridge into higher education. We want it to hopefully make it seamless for you to decide where you want to go if you follow our steps, and then moving forward to go on with that. So if you listen to us, and we'll help you through the process. Hopefully by the end, you'll see that it'll get a little bit easier, and you'll see in a couple slides up the different paths that you will take. We know that you're going to listen to different voices in your life, like your parents, your family, guidance counselors, and teachers to help you make a decision. They also tell you, I think the best school for you might be, Niagara or Bonaventure, because that's where I went. But maybe you sometimes are just going to say, look, I want to listen to myself and at least go visit these other schools. And I will go visit this school, Mom, and, see if it is for me, but let me just go through the hoops for this. How can you grow through internships, clubs, and campus social engagements at Niagara? We have so many different clubs and activities, just like they do at probably a lot of other different schools. But make sure if you're going to a school, do they have the academic fit for you? You wouldn't go to a school for engineering if they didn't have an engineering program, for example. Sorry, I just clicked back. And you want to go to a school that has everything for you. So the academic fit and the social fit. And we want you to go out in the world professionally through hopefully the career service office at the different schools that you apply to as well. And we have a lot of internships and great programs through Pathways at Niagara. So just know at all schools, hopefully they do have, career service office. They will actually help you with all of those so that you can go and move on in the path of your professional career. Because we want you to go to school and have a plan and know kind of some careers that you're interested in going into. It does not need to be set in stone today, or even when you start at the school that you're going to, or even a couple months in. You can find yourself while you're there, but just make sure that the school you choose has all of those avenues for you. And maximizing your investment. So if you want to go to a school, especially like Niagara or some of these other schools, they're all, they all can be affordable, but sometimes private schools or big state schools can be expensive. So just know that if you are interested in going to these private schools, we can help you reduce the costs. You can file an appeal on the package. So Niagara, Canisius, Bonaventure, St. John Fisher, if you're familiar with any of these, Damon, Medaille, these private schools I'm talking about, and not state schools, I'm sorry, just the private schools. If you want to appeal on the packages, we want to make sure you get the most out of your investment. So if you're interested in going to the school and you get a financial aid package at any school pretty much, and you know that maybe that's the school you want to go to, please don't be afraid to talk to your counselor, such as myself, and say, Julie, look, I really want to go to Niagara. I do need a little bit more money to get there. And it really is the only way that it will be possible for me to come. Sometimes if you don't speak up, we don't know that, and we don't give you more money, and then you don't come. And we really want you to come, and we want to maximize your investment and make sure you're getting the most out of it. So please talk to us if that comes up. So these are the contributing voices that I was talking about, parents. So like I was saying, maybe mom or dad went to Bonaventure, like I said, so they want you to go there, or maybe mom and dad or grandma and grandpa really want you to stay home because you live in, for example, Lewiston, and maybe you're not really thinking about Niagara, but you do really like it, but you know it's 5 minutes down the street, or any of the colleges that are 5 minutes down the street. You're going to listen to your parents and you're going to listen to their opinions. But of course, maybe at the same time, you might want to, try out other schools, which you are. We encourage you to visit other schools. But when you go through that process, we just want you to know that if you take their voice, their voices into consideration, it will make them happy, obviously, but you might fall in love with the school that they're talking about and you might not. So just, that's one of the voices you hear. Employers, maybe you have a job, a part-time job somewhere where you want to maybe listen to some of your coworkers or your boss there and where they went to school and where someone else had a great experience. Maybe someone had a great experience at UB or Syracuse, so you want to apply or at least visit. That's another one to take into consideration. School counselors. I don't know if any of you on the Zoom tonight have any school counselors who, you're really close with, and maybe you know where they went to school or where they've sent other students to school. So they've told you where might be a great fit for you. That's another avenue. At Niagara and in other schools, I would definitely say, I mean, a lot of the counselors I talk to, they always make me feel like they love Niagara, but I know at the end of the day, maybe they went to a different school and, they push different students to different schools, which is great. And we just want you to know that that's another voice you might listen to and to take that into consideration because your counselors do know you. Your friends, the same way. Friends that you work with, friends you've gone to high school with. Maybe some of you want to go away together. Maybe you think a little separation would be good. It is fun to go away with a friend, maybe room together. You can request that. And sometimes it's really fun to just kind of go separate ways and see each other over the holidays and things like that. So you can think about it that way, but your friends will also tell you where they went, how their experience was, and that might put a school on the list for you to visit because you're very interested in what your friends say. Data. So data is a big deal. I don't know if any of you have Googled, where's the best criminal justice school in Western New York, or where's the best criminal justice school in the United States. A lot of students do that to kind of come up with an answer. So just kind of think about that in the process, that you can look up those and maybe it will give you some ideas as to where you want to visit just based off of numbers alone. And that really is important. It is. Make sure you just keep all your options open and visit all schools. Media. I don't know if any of you here have followed any colleges on social media, followed their Instagram accounts, looked for what they're posting, because a lot of times that's a couple more coming in, sorry. A lot of times that is a great way to see what's going on at the school, just to see if you might be interested in the school. Maybe you follow Niagara on Instagram and you're like, wow, the summer orientation looks really fun. Maybe that might make it more enticing for you to visit the school by checking that out. And then if anyone here has a consultant or has heard of a consultant, so when a consultant, they help you get into the school that you're interested in going to. Not you do that yourself, like you're the one who gets in, but they'll help you with the path of financial aid and going the right direction. So consultants are always an option. A lot of times you do hire them. Sometimes there's CBOs and things like that, not consultants, who do help you as part of their job with you at the school. But those are options out there. For example, if a student wanted to go to Niagara, sometimes we hear from a consultant that they need more money in their financial aid package instead of hearing it from the student themselves, because the consultant does that for them. And they do help you choose, because a lot of times it does come down to money, and it does come down to the school you get into. So sometimes they really do help with that. There we go. It wouldn't move. Okay, so the college admissions roadmap. So first, we want all of you to assess yourself, what you're interested in academically. Oh, one more. What you're interested in socially, how far away from home you want to go, how close you might want to stay, if you want to dorm, even if you are staying at home, or even if you are living in the area, I mean. So, consider living on campuses, even that are right in your backyard, because you don't know how different that experience could be. Do you want private? Do you want SUNY? Do you want state? Do you want community college? There's a lot of different options. So take those all into consideration when you're assessing. Discovering would be narrowing down all of the different schools that you're interested in, and narrowing it down to maybe, I would say, definitely under 10. Under 5 would be awesome. If you got it down to 3, that would be amazing, but maybe go visit that many. At least go visit 10. See if you like the schools. And that really goes into exploring. So I'm kind of jumping ahead, but discover what you're interested in, listen to those voices, and write all of this down. Make sure in the discovery process you discover, okay, what could be for you and what wouldn't be. Exploring, we want you to go visit all the schools as many times as you can. If a student was interested in Niagara and has never visited, and I have worked with students like that before, I would say to them, you have to at least try to come visit campus once before you come. You really want to see how you feel there, but I would encourage you to come maybe 2 or 3 times before you make a decision. And then connect would be applying after the visit, hi Bridget, and then applying, visiting again, getting accepted, filling out the financial aid information, and then taking it from there, like committing by making your deposit, going to other events, and making sure there is the right fit for you. So assess, discover, explore, and connect. Those are the 4 steps we feel that if you try to follow them, we will help you make your way. Actually, there's one more person here, sorry. Follow those steps, and just know that even when we get off tonight, I will be here, so with Bridget or Maddie, to kind of talk to you about this. If you have further questions about how this all goes, we don't want you to think this is the end after we meet today. And we're not just here to talk about Niagara. We will talk to you about other schools, other options, and where your path should take you. So consider looking a little closer. Parents, I don't know if there's any parents watching tonight too. A lot of you, and even students, want a safe school. Parents and students want a safe school. So students want to go to a school where they feel the safest. So please, that is something to ask when you go on a visit. Is your school safe? Have you heard of many reports on your campus? It's just a good question to ask. Return on investment with the financial aid, scholarships, that's a big deal. Career services that we talked about, that's a very big deal as well. Career services is, again, what helps you. They might help you get your foot into a job, because the internship is like the new interview now. Advising, which would be making sure there is faculty advisement there and that their door is always open when you need help. Health and intervention, that goes for health services, mental health counseling, and just making sure that the school you go to has that, especially if you're out of town and you need that type of help and you don't have it. Community connection. Like, it was very important to me to go to a school that I knew did community service and helped give back and help others, like Niagara does, and a lot of other schools do. It's nice to see the school's name out there doing good things in the community. financial aid and appeals, which we kind of already talked about too. Make sure that the school you go to, take a notice of if they're working with you, if you need more money to go to the school. You'll know if they really care about you because they will at least, send you a text back or an email back and say, I'm working on it. I'm sending this off to my director of financial aid. They're meeting early next week. We'll get back to you by the end of that week at the latest. Like those are some of the responses you want. Class size, do you want to go to a smaller school or a bigger school? And that's a big one. At Niagara, we have about 20 students per class. Other schools might have 300. So that could be a big deal breaker for you and something to look into. And then access to faculty, just because we kind of already talked about admissions, access to faculty, just like advising, you want to make sure that their doors open. For example, at Niagara, I've gone into at least 3 classes where on the dry erase board when I walked in was my professor's name and cell phone number, because they really treat you like an adult when you go to college. And, they said to me, or they said to the whole class, if you have any questions, we don't want you, struggling on homework and tests. You can text me at any time before 9 o'clock, Monday through Thursday. Some professors are like that. Other professors who don't do that, they'll have office hours, they'll meet you for coffee, really look into access to faculty. And then housing. This is a big one because it's important to know that if you're living on campus, that you have on-campus housing guaranteed for all 4 years that you're there. So you wouldn't want to, some schools it's okay, like schools in New York City, for example, maybe it's guaranteed for 2 years and then you get an apartment. Well, maybe at that point you would want to, but it is something to look into. And the type of housing that they have, singles, doubles, apartments, little houses, things like that, that we offer at Niagara are those things that you want to see at the other school that you're interested in too, the other schools. So application objectives. So learn the best ways to get in to the school of your dreams and thrive there. So just know, just because if you don't get into a school, that does happen to everyone, but to get into the school and know when you're there, okay, I want to do this, 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 and that, and I'm going to be so happy when I go there. Of course, you're going to do more when you go, but know the ways that you're going to thrive there. At Niagara, if you come and visit, we will actually sit down with you and then send you out on tour. You could go out to the dining hall and eat, and then you could go meet with a faculty member in the major that you're interested in. So that really gives students a good idea of knowing how they will thrive, because if you meet with a faculty member on one of your first visits and you make an immediate connection with them, okay, I can see myself here the next 4 years. Dr. So-and-so is, really going to help me achieve my goals. And that's really important to us. So that has a lot to do with getting in and thriving. And trust me, when you meet these faculty members, they fall in love with the students too that they meet, high school juniors and seniors. They'll email us and say, I met with Emily today. I just want you to know, I think she'd be a great fit for Niagara. So they even help you get in, even though you sell yourself. But know yourself. It's the time to sell you. Tell yourself to the school. Tell them what clubs you've been in, all the different honor societies, scholarships you've got in high school, the career service that you've done, the sports that you've done, the plays you've been in. Talk about all of that. Stay focused on your goals and stay organized. So we do think following this process will help you stay organized on where you want to go and where you will end up, because organization really leads to success. Know your timetable. So this has a lot to do with, some schools have deadlines. Niagara doesn't, because we're rolling admissions, but some schools have deadlines of deadlines of when you have to apply by or when you have to commit by. There's lots of different things. So whichever school you go to, ask them, do I need to send in my deposit early? Do I need to apply early for a certain program? They might say no, just like us, but we just want you to know about all that so you don't miss any opportunities. And also confirm connections with schools and verify your submission. There's a lot of schools like Niagara, and we think our program is really unique, but that actually offer scholarships if you visit, connect with the counselor, and apply. So at Niagara, for example, confirm that you are connecting to these counselors. so that you can have that box checked off. And to verify your submission, definitely take a screenshot when you apply or maybe screenshot your email. But a little bit of advice before we move on. A good idea is to create an email address that's brand new and exclusively for the colleges that you apply to. So if you're interested in doing that, we love to see that. Mike College at Niagara, I'm just making this up, but or not at Niagara, yeah, like Gmail, I would say. And then all of the schools that you would apply to, use that email. So everything's going there. It's a lot easier for you too. It looks professional, but also it's easier for you because you're not seeing, your Target shopping order in there and everything else. So that's that. So that's a little bit of advice that we wanted to give you from Niagara to help you all with your college search process. And I just wanted to say that Bridget Gorman is now on with us, and she's going to introduce herself in a little bit. She works with me in the admissions office, and she's one of our assistant directors. But I'm going to bring Maddie back up for a little bit to talk about her college search process and how she ended up at Niagara and maybe things she kind of struggled with. Okay?
Okay. So when I started my college search process a little bit later than typically. I was like within the senior year range. So I was really overwhelmed, didn't really know where to start. So I picked kind of 3 criteria that I wanted to focus on and pick schools that fit into those. So that would be size. I wanted a school that wasn't too big. Distance from home. So I'm from Rochester, New York. So I wanted to stay within 2-hour range. And then a strong, undecided, or education program, because I wasn't totally sure what I wanted to major in. And that's kind of where I was headed. So then the next step was to choose schools that fit into that. So I looked at Ithaca College, SUNY Geneseo, SUNY Portland, Elmira College, kind of couple smaller, couple SUNYs just to get a larger school in there. And then I visited all the schools on my list. So while I was at visits, my mom and I would both make pros and cons lists so we could compare those later and kind of see which schools fit me better. And then I actually visited my top contenders again. So I do recommend, if you're going to be visiting schools, visit multiple times and make them different types of visits. So if you take a general admissions tour the first time, maybe go to an open house the second time or an accepted students day, because those are completely different experiences and you kind of get a different campus feel every time. So having those different visits really solidified Niagara for me, because I did visit 3 times. And then it's important to keep in mind how you feel at each campus. So not every school is going to feel like home, and that's okay. But when you do get those feelings, like I could see myself in those dorms, I could see myself at that basketball game, like keep that in mind, because it is going to be your home for the next 4 years. And getting involved is really important too. So when I was on Niagara's campus, I really felt like I could see myself joining these clubs and going to these events. So that's another point that kind of sold Niagara for me. But coming in, where you are right now, you might not be totally sure with a major, and that's okay too, because I was absolutely completely no path coming in. But a tip that I have is, when you're going to those visits, take majors and minors lists from the admissions department if they have those, and start crossing off majors you don't want to take part in, because that really helped me. So like I knew right off the bat, I don't want business, I don't want science. So that really kind of pushed me towards people, professions, and education and psychology and stuff like that. So in the end, I picked Niagara because it was only an hour and a half from my house. The class sizes were super small. They're an average of 19 students. And then our undecided program is really good as well. And that pushed me into my sociology and my double minor. So that's kind of a little bit about me. And I can also answer questions if you have any.
Thank you, Maddie. Great job. And then Bridget, would you like to just introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your Niagara experience, and then we'll do questions?
Yeah, thanks,
Thank
Julie.
you.
Sorry I joined a little bit late, but my name's Bridget. I'm the Assistant Director of International Enrollment here at NU. So if you are an international student, I've probably already connected with most, if not all of my international students on this call today. So you can reach out to me at any time. I can guide you through the admissions process. I'm the one who reads your application, and then I can help you through the decision process as well. I am a recent graduate of Niagara University. I was a member of NU's class of 2020. And my college search was kind of similar to Maddie's. How do I put it lightly? I had my heart set on certain things. I wanted to go to the big school with the big sports that had this XYZ program. But then once I started visiting universities and things like that, I really realized that I had things that I thought that I wanted. And then when I had the time to sit back, reflect, and understand, okay, I'm going away to college, not just for the experience, but for the education as well. I need to be in the environment that's best fit for me. I realized that I would really need to thrive in a school that's a lot smaller. So that way I'm not afraid to go up to my professor and ask questions and things like that too, as well. I visited a lot of schools. I applied to a lot of schools. But I feel like what Julie touched on earlier is visiting them again before you make that final decision. Reconnect, 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 so that way you are confident by the time you do arrive here on campus that you have made the right decision. So I have put my contact information in the chat for those of you who are under me, and I would love to connect with you guys again soon. You're muted, Julie.
Okay, I'm back, of course. Thank you, Bridget. And thank you everyone for coming. So now the three of us, kind of like a panel. So Bridget and I are from the admissions office, and we just wanted to do kind of like a Q&A. So if you want, you can do them in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and just say the question, whichever way you'd like to go. I do believe I do have a chat that I received that I can go over if you just want to kind of think of something to ask next. But when does your application open and what are your application deadlines? Which is really a great question, because at Niagara, we are rolling admissions and our application is pretty much always open. You just have to select which semester you want to come in. But I see a lot of students start applying in August and not August, September and October and November. But the tail end of August, we do get some applications to trickle in, because some schools start earlier in August than we do here. We start in like September. So it's hard to get your hands on a letter of recommendation and things like that. But we're open. We don't have any deadlines. We do not have any fees to our application. I know that was another question. We are free at Niagara. And also part of this Q&A, please ask us any questions related to Niagara as well, because I know this is about the college search process, but we definitely want to talk to you about Niagara too. And then what are some financial aspects about your school and financial aid? Well, then at Niagara, we do offer generous scholarships between about 10 and 23,000, all based on your GPA, your SAT, your ACT scores, if you choose to send them in. And then we do give generous packages once you file the FAFSA. You won't know exactly what you get until you get the package, but we will always work with you to bring it down. So I hope that helps a little with the scholarship questions. And then I do see another question here. What would be the fee structure? So, and I don't know exactly if you mean like tuition at Niagara. What do you think, Bridget, do you know the answer to that one?
Yeah. So I always say if you're an international student, I always say budget about $52,000 a year, and that's before scholarships and things like that. So that's kind of like your basic bottom line. Our tuition itself is about $37,000, and then there's additional costs of room and board, and then your visa fees and all that extra stuff, your health insurance and things like that. So I always over predict. So I always like to say $52,000 is going to be your best estimate if you're looking for a number right there. We can definitely break that down as well. Julie did mention the FAFSA. That is something that's required only for our US citizens. If you are a non-US citizen and you're looking to apply for additional aid, I always say get to know me, because we do have opportunities for you if you would like to complete the CSS profile, get to know me. I can fight to help you earn some additional aid as well. So you're not locked in the second you earn your merit scholarship.
And I'm actually just going to share the screen for a second because I got a question about how do you set up a tour, and I figured I could just do this real fast.
Yeah.
Let's see. So if you want to set up a tour, you can just go to our website at niagara.edu/visit, up here at the top, if you want to write it down here. And you can literally just come over here and click on daily visits. And you can pick, if you want to come. We do offer some Saturday appointments and open houses where there are tours, but every single day that we're open, Monday through Friday, besides part of Friday in the summer, we do offer visits at 9:30, 12, and 2. So let's say you wanted to come on the 27th. Here's the 9:30, the 12, and the 2. You can click on which one you want, fill out the information, press enter, and then you're signed up. You just get an email stating where you need to be. We'll greet you there. You meet with us, you go out on a tour. So it's really easy to schedule that. So I just wanted to show you that. Let's see if anyone else answered any questions. Yes. Could you go over, okay, so biology. So biology is awesome at Niagara, and maybe Bridget will know a little bit more too, but we have an awesome biology program, great, based on research in one of our more brand new buildings, the Golisano Center. And at Niagara, we offer the pre-med umbrella that kind of goes over biology, but it also can go over different majors as well. And that really helps gear you into getting into med school. And I don't know if you're interested in med school, but at Niagara, all of the research that we do, it'll help you really get in because you're set up with a pre-med health advisor who helps get you into med school by helping you with mock interviews, letters of recommendation, tours, how to pass the MCAT, and everything along those lines. So I think that our biology and science majors at Niagara are super thorough. So, Bridget, do you have anything to add for biology, would you say?
I think you pretty much covered it. I just think something that's cool to emphasize is the way we advise students. And that can be a game changer for a lot of students considering their different schools too. Your advisor who's guiding you through your entire academic process at NU is actually going to be one of your professors in the program that you're studying. So they not only know what classes you need to take, but they can help you figure out which classes you can succeed in and what the requirements are in order to succeed in that class and how the class is taught too. So they can really give you a true insight on success.
Thank you. And then the other question we have here, sorry, I was looking at the tours, was, are there virtual tours? And yes, there are virtual tours available. And we also have a video that will be available for you too. And
Is Julie frozen? Oh no. I'm putting right now in the chat, we actually have a link available through UVisit. We're updating this website right now, but this is what we have available right now for you. If you want to click that link, it's just uvisit.com/tour/Niagara University.
sorry guys, something happened to my Wi-Fi apparently, so I'm sorry about that. But yes, it'll give you a great experience. So I do highly recommend virtual tours. Thank you, Bridget. I don't know what happened. And then the question about the college essay and personal statement, I definitely recommend, writing about something very dear to your heart. I do think that that would be a great idea for it. I do think, you could talk about a life experience or something you did in high school, or even one day when you helped someone you met on the street. A lot of those are kind of good topics to talk about because they're different than, talking about, there really is no bad essay, so I don't really know how to answer that, but I would definitely say to approach the statement is to talk about something really meaningful to you. And if you're interested in nursing, for example, talk about nursing in the essay, like relate it to the academic program you want to get into and why you think it'd be a good fit for you too. Just a little bit of my advice. Oh, I think this is a good question for Maddie. Maybe you could answer how housing is like on campus.
Yes. So your first year, you're going to come in and we have the freshman dorms in O'Shea and Seton Hall. So those are kind of like your high-rise apartment style living. And those are co-ed buildings as well. I lived in O'Shea my freshman year, and it was a really great experience because you were meeting a lot of people at the same time because all the freshmen lived there. So when I moved in, like everyone had their doors open in those apartment style living. So we met a lot of people that way. And then as you get older, we have upperclassmen housing as well, where you can have more flexibility with, do you want a single, a double, or a triple in different halls on campus. And then we have Varsity Village as well, which are like little brick cottages in the center of campus, which is where I live. And those fit 9 to 13 people who are living under like a theme of a club or major.
Thank you. For Canadian students, is the application process the same, and how much are the fees for international students? So, to be honest, Bridget, do you know much about the Canadian application process?
Canada, I know, is pretty much the same as US domestic, from what I've heard. And as for fees for Canadian students, they're a little bit different than the traditional international students. I'm the advisor for all international students but Canada. If you are from Canada, you'll have Mark Stewart as your admissions advisor. His email is mstewart@niagara.edu. I know that there's a separate fee structure with like currency conversions and things like that. So that way it's a little bit more affordable for our Canadian students because we have a lot of Canadian students with us. But I'll put his email in the chat for you and he can definitely break that down a little bit more than I can.
Thank you. And I do know that, let's see, we had a question about the Common App. We are on the Common App and it is free. Does Niagara advise for or against using humor or sarcasm in the essay? We do love humor. I've heard that from a lot of counselors. Bridget agrees. If you feel shy talking about yourself, I would recommend just saying anything that you would have. If you have a hard time saying it out loud, write it in your essay. Like, I dealt with this situation, and just really be honest with how you feel. Right, Bridget?
Only thing I always say is don't write about anything political. I always say try your best to avoid that topic unless it relates to something on your resume that you did, just because you don't always know the opinions of the person who's reading your essay as well. So I always like to say, if it makes you a little bit nervous and you're like, I don't know if this will work, it's always better to play it safe, but I'm not going to deny you over an essay either. So write about something that you're super passionate about and something that helps introduces me to your personality and not just your academic side of yourself.
Great. Yes. And for the question about applying to a science school, should I avoid writing about for my love of science? I honestly would still write about it and just write about why you love science so much and where you think it'll take you. Because they do like to see what you've done with science, because the essay is kind of a way for you to follow up on maybe something you put in your application, like different clubs and activities that you're in. Like, you could write about an essay, something you did in this, maybe I'm making this up, but maybe you found a nest of birds and like nursed them to health or something. You could relate it all to science, like a life experience. So I do get some essays like that. So I wouldn't avoid writing about science. And percentages on the acceptance for Niagara's nursing program. So it is under the tuition exchange program, yes. And pretty much if you're interested in getting into Niagara for nursing, more so than a percentage, we do say if you have around like a 90 and above solid GPA, and we will be test optional, but if you do have SAT scores, I would say maybe 1100s and above. If that kind of gives you an idea, if you fall in that area, you probably, hopefully would be good. And then also chemistry grades in high school. So if you have as best as you can do in chemistry, will help you with the nursing program as well. It changes every year because our nursing program keeps getting bigger and we keep getting more seats to fill. So if you're in those lines, you should be pretty good. And let's see, you spent, let's see. Okay, about letters of recommendation, I get that. You can, if you could reach out to your counselors or teachers in LA and they felt like emailing you a letter of recommendation, the college won't care that you moved and it'll be like awesome that you got that letter. So if you can get in touch with them, you can get it from them in LA, or trust me, you can probably, because I can tell you're probably a great student, hopefully someone, I know someone new would write a great letter for you and it still would be just as effective. But if you can try to get the ones from LA, that'd be great. Let's see. The application process is the same for Indian students, right, Bridget? Yes.
Yep, they usually apply on Common App. There's a separate application on our website, but I prefer the Common App. It'll make my life easier and your life easier too.
Perfect. And it says, do you have a median SAT score and or GPA? And yes, we do have around about, maybe we like to see a solid 85. We love to see that and above for most of our majors, but of course, 80s and up. And if Bridget, if you want to talk on that for more international, or is it a little different, right?
It's about the same. If you weren't educated in English, we'll have an English exam requirement for you. If you take the Duolingo, I need a 110. If you take the TOEFL or IELTS, we'll need a 79 or a 6. But besides that, I still look for usually an 85 out of 100 overall GPA, 5s out of 7, and that kind of range. And there's a lot of different scales.
Awesome. And I know SAT scores were mentioned in there too. We love to see, 1,000 and above for sure. If, although we are test optional, but I would definitely say, you could try, if you try taking it a couple times, that does help you too. So that's just a topic where you can decide also not to submit them, which is awesome, at Niagara too. And the international student on campus, how big is that, Bridget?
We actually have a whole entire office dedicated to international student life. That's right now headed by Dr. Debbie Curtis, and then there's a lot of additional help for you and supports there. They have so many different events throughout the year relating to where you're from. If you want to host an event and inform the student body of your culture and where you're from, you can do that too. It's kind of what you make of it. If you want to be a leader in the whole program, you can do that as well. So it's kind of up to you, but they're always active. There's always a bunch of events going on for international students and our domestic students as well.
Perfect. Yes, we accept AP scores, 3, 4s, and 5s, but 4s and 5s for math and sciences. Is there anything else I should try to do while visiting a college? I would recommend meeting with faculty, maybe eating in the dining hall, maybe meeting with an athletic team if you're interested in that too. So that's always a really good idea. Let's see. For merit scholarships, we look for GPA and SAT or ACT score if you submit it. So I would definitely make sure your GPA is still strong as you're finishing up high school, or try to tighten it up as much as you can, because it could just be solely based on GPA. And we don't really discriminate against coursework. We do notice if you're taking really intense courses, but if you aren't, we don't say, oh, that student isn't, challenging himself. We don't think those things. So definitely just try to get the GPA around, what we talked about. Probably, a solid 85 and above. But we do, of course, accept students with 80s and above, and we work with them to strengthen their grades and everything. We do not prefer SAT over ACT. Definitely think about the same for that. And drug, marijuana, alcohol, smoking, vaping, weapons policy at NU, they're all a no, right, Maddie and Bridget? I would think.
I feel like that'd be a good question for campus safety.
Yes.
I don't know, Maddie, if you know more.
I do know we're not a dry campus. So if you are 21, I'm pretty sure like you are allowed to have like alcohol in the dorms. Weapons are no tolerance, I'm pretty sure. And then I don't know about anything else.
Yeah,
But
usually no one over 21 lives in the dorms anyways, so they are, if it's on campus, they're in the on-campus apartments, but a lot of our upperclassmen choose to move off campus as well. So but yeah, nothing too scary happening on campus. I can find the contact for campus safety if you want those exact policies too.
Yes. And does anyone else have any other questions at all about anything we talked about tonight? I just kind of wanted to, I'm looking back through here and I feel like I missed someone's question, but let's just look again. I don't think so though. Any student related questions like for Maddie or international or visiting? Thank you all for coming tonight. You really, asked a lot of great questions and paid attention. And I know hopefully this was useful for you. Thank you. That's a good idea for campus safety's phone number. So thank you so much for joining us. And you do have our information, so you can call us at any time. And thank you again.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Bye.